I've been thinking a lot lately about the things that still get my emotions going, like the things that still touch my heart and make me upset. And one of the things that will that still do and may always hurt me is seeing my children struggle with the effects of what my childhood trauma has done to their lives. So, because I was molested, abused, and abandoned, there's certain things that transferred automatically to my children. Although I was able to protect them from being abused themselves, because I was one of those moms who didn't take no crap from nobody. And if I even thought that you might be some type of weirdo around kids, believe me, I was gonna point it out. I remember sending my kids to my mama's house for the summer, and I told everybody in that house, if anybody so much as touch one of my children or think about touching my children. No, I didn't know any of them to be abusers, but I'm just saying that the climate was that I would kill you, and then I would go to jail and I would serve my time with a smile on my face because nobody was going to do to my children what had been done to me. And nothing happened like had been done to me. You know, it's not like I didn't tell someone that what had happened to me. It was that I told and nobody cared. My mom didn't want to do anything about it because it was too painful for her. It was too big of a deal for her to deal with. So she just made it seem like I was over exaggerating and that everything was going to be just fine. So I don't know if that's some of your stories, but that was my story. And ever since, I never stopped telling. I never stopped telling. So I know that broke um, a, that broke something in the line of this abuse, but I didn't totally protect my kids from the effect of it because what they saw were things that I didn't say. They saw the fear when it came to confrontation. They saw the effects of like not being connected with my family of origin because of the things that happened. They experienced all of those things. So each one of them in their own way has their own battle with the effects of what the residuals of what I left in their lives. And that's, I mean, it's the thing that still brings tears to my eyes because honestly, I tried as a parent to give them every advantage that I possibly could. Now, I was never rich, but I made sure that there was always a roof over their head. There was food, an abundance of food. There was clothing. They always got to participate in all of the whatever was going on at the school, field trips and things like that. And I tried to keep them um, with as much power as I could, like go up there and speak for yourself. Even if we were at McDonald's and I'm like, listen, you go up there and ask for your ketchup. Okay? Because you know how they like people don't want to listen to kids and they kind of push them to the side. I said, no, I want you to go up there and you ask for your ketchup. And if they give you any problem or if they ignore them, I'm watching, right? So if they ignore my kids, I'm going up there and I'm going to confront them because children should know their own power and not be afraid of confrontation. But what I did by doing that, because if somebody did ignore them, then I was like, raw. And then I think what I did was instilled fear in them anyway, because they weren't afraid of going up, but they were afraid of what would happen if that person didn't respond the way my mom wanted them to. So the thing that I tried to avoid is the thing that I created, you know. And I mean, I just didn't know. I didn't have it right. Nobody comes with a parenting book, especially when you have a child at 12 years old. I mean, what did I know? I watched TV and I tried to figure it out on my own. I read books and I mimicked what I saw on TV, but what my children were picking up was what was inside me. All the fear, all the guilt, all the pain, all the low self-esteem, all of those things. Kids, they bypass the logic and they get straight into the emotion, into what's in your spirit and the look in your eyes and things like that. They pick up on those types of things. So those are the things that hurt me the most. And it's one of the reasons why I will never let this topic go. Like, I'm on my Facebook right now looking at women who are in domestic violence situations. And I know why they're there. I know, because their self-worth is not where it's supposed to be. Because when you love yourself and you cherish yourself and you know who you are, you don't allow people to trot on you. You don't allow people to mistreat you, you know, because your worth is with you and your worth is in God. Your worth is in what God says about you and not what you feel and what you think about yourself. I mean, that's really where my, worth comes from. It's not that I got my self-esteem together and I da da da. No, I finally realized that if God says I'm good and God says he made me in his image and he says that I'm, you know, uh, fearfully and wonderfully made, then that is my truth. Who am I to question that? And so then it becomes my job to figure out how to meet this realization of who I am in my everyday life. How do I show up and bring reality? Bring myself into that realm of reality. And it's not easy, every day you have to battle between being arrogant and humble because you know your worth. And you have to battle between standing up for yourself and being mean to others. Like there's a balance in there. And so having this new awakening about my own worth hasn't been easy, but it's much better than the way I used to feel about who I was. Always people pleasing, always worried about what other people thought about me. You know, oh, do they think this or do they think that? I better not say this because then I have to do that. If I show up to a family function, I have to bring the most, do the most, otherwise they won't want me there. Like, why would you ever? I know why I did it, but now that I think back on it, I'm like, we don't need to live like that. We don't need to live up to anybody else's expectation. In fact, you are perfect just the way you are, where you are. And if there's something you don't like about yourself, then you slowly take the steps to change it. You don't beat yourself up like, oh, you need to stop this and stop that. No, you recognize it. Okay, Twyla, you tend to get angry over small things. Okay. And then you take it to God. God, I tend to get angry over small things. What do I do about this? You listen to what you get in prayer, and then you start to look into it. Like, okay, what does this mean? Google it, look it up. Start to research what it means when somebody gets angry over small things. Oh, okay. Then you start to see, okay, well, maybe this is what it's connected to. I was ignored as a child. I wasn't given the nicest things. People, said bad things to me, whatever it is. And you say, okay, there's the connection, right? And then you start to slowly recognize that when the situation comes up. So what's been most helpful for me is like, okay, is the reaction that I'm having to this situation warranted? Is it natural? Is this the amount of anger I should have about this? Or have I gone overboard and tapped into a different source of anger for what this person has done. And that's been really, really helpful for me. If you can just take a second and think, okay, is this a natural response? This woman didn't put my groceries in the cart the way I thought she should. Should I be feeling this kind of rage, anger, upsetness with her? Or is this something else? Because I feel like she's disrespected me, or she doesn't see me, or she hasn't honored me in the way that I felt that I should be, right? So that's how I dealt with it. And if you guys don't know, then yeah, I have had to deal with anger because it was one of my. Actually, I used to think that my anger and my like, I'm not putting up with it was a protection for me. Like I didn't want to be stepped on. I didn't want to be, a doormat. So instead of being that, I would use the anger. But most of the times I just go home and be like, I should have said this and that and this and that. I wouldn't pop off at the person, but when I got home, I'd be like, rah. And then what did that do? That just ate me up inside, made me feel guilty, made me more angry because I didn't do or say what I thought I should do or say, and it didn't benefit anybody. So it was like I wanted to let go of that. And you can let go of it too. You just have to know what it is, why it is, and how to surrender it and have your peace. Because the most important part of this whole scenario is that I now get to live in peace because I figured out what set me off in the first place. And I either don't go into situations like that, or if I know I'm going into a situation like that, I prepare myself mentally. Like I know these people are going to be haters. Let me just get myself into a place where, I'm not going to allow it to affect me. Or when they've caught me off guard, then I can say to myself, is this an appropriate reaction or not? And even if I get it all wrong, like I totally screwed up, I popped off, I flipped over the cart, whatever I did, then I can go home and think about it and let myself off the hook. Like, okay, you got it wrong this time. You know why. Okay, next time we're going to be more prepared. Or we didn't know that was a trigger, so we're going to be more prepared. We as in me and myself. But so I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm never sure if my stories are helpful, but leave me a comment. Let me know. Is this helpful to you, or should I go in another way, or what? And make sure you turn on your notifications so you get my videos, and like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with me.